Yo, what's up, guys? It's Nick here with some raw day trading, and we're going to go through today's stuff. I kind of didn't do super well today. Notationally, I did okay, but in terms of my trades, I did a little bit rough. I was up 600 relatively quickly, went back to flat, then slowly worked back to around 500 before I ended the day. Main name I traded was MVST, but I don't know how much of that I'm going to go through today. I really want to take a look and break down in this amount of time that I have the trade sequence that I made a couple mistakes on and get into that. I have a huge long tape. I was sitting at the desk pretty much for like 5 hours straight today. Maybe not the best thing to do. But BTCT on Bitcoin strength, Bitcoin popping up to 95K, pretty crazy. It's just wild, right? Again, I have no Bitcoin, but I was trading Bitcoin-related stocks. This was the main name that kind of like took the flag and was running into the open. Just do a quick recap of the open, see what happens here. You have BTCS, which is sympathy to the BTCT and Bitcoin. I was kind of focused in on this because it was a, how do you call it? It was a name that was a little bit lighter, less focused, but still semi-correlated. And I was thinking to get in before other traders, kind of the majority of them recognized it. It ended up being actually pretty low volume, and I didn't quite get the trades that I wanted on it. It didn't open up, even though the other trades were opening up, or BTM, I think is what I'm talking about. So yeah, BTM, the one on the left side. So there were three of them, all kind of Bitcoin related. BTCT out of the gate, just kind of halting up, or at least signaling like it's going to halt up right there. Then you have BTCS pushing highs. I felt like I missed that one. I felt like it was too volatile to trade with any size at least. And then I jump into BTM looking for that sympathy Momo as it hadn't moved yet. And I get a little bit of play here, but then it starts to waver. I think I was up. It gets up above $3, but doesn't continue. I'm a little bit patient on it. Cut it right there. It was lagging too, so that was another problem. Thinkorswim will do that too when there's not a lot of liquidity. Instead of just dumping your shares on the market, it will try to feather them out at a good price. I do kind of like that, although it is feeling sketchy. It is a sketchy feeling for sure. Sellers stacked up here. Still just looking at this level 2. It's kind of similar chart setup to this one, but it's not the same stock. Looking at this level 2, looking for a shot to 3. I'm waiting for it. I think I get in again just above 92-ish. But BTCS was the kind of one to get. I'm back in here. It kind of opens up here for a second. And I'm like, wow, this could be actually a really nice one, especially with this momentum across there. So I hold it. I'm waiting for this big seller to get bought up. Actually, partially thinking to add. It's looking strong. I don't take profit here. I think I take half profit. Yeah, I'm going to ride this, but it actually ends up being weaker than I expected. So it's still above my entry, and I'm just kind of holding. And then when I do kind of let it go, it gets let go into about 93 for half of it, and then 3 for half of it. $3 for, yeah. I might have had something to do with this weakness here. I take a little profit there, and then I take the rest out right here on this next uptick. For a second, I looked at getting back in. I really did. But it just wasn't. It wasn't organized enough. It wasn't strong enough. It was getting pinned down. So I let it go. And that was that. This first initial push here on BTCS, I do want to go back and rewatch this. Man, I am a little, I just hate looking at screens all day, but it is what it is today. My favorite's like in, out, ninja style. Sometimes it doesn't work, whatever. That would have been the buy spot right there. Boom. Maybe in at 55. Sketchy entry, but there would have been relief. I would have held till above. I would have held till basically break even here, which would have looked very close to that. Still looking for 4. I would still be looking for 4 here. Still looking for 4. Boom. Taking profit right there. And then let's see where the next entry would be. Yeah, there's a lot of momentum today. A lot of strong momentum on these names. I'm just not a super big trader of these extension candles. Other traders are really good at it. I don't prefer to take the risk. Boom, that would have been dip. Ooh, sketchy, but holding. And cutting it out there. Maybe 10 cents. Yeah. All right. So now we're going to fast forward to MVST at 10 o'clock. 10:02 to 10:05. It kind of does this pop up here. I'm up a couple $100. Nothing crazy. I think I can milk a little bit more out. Still kind of like playing around and trading this, letting it do its thing. Not really committing to anything till there's a nice little candle here. And I get in. This is a decent price. I'm like, well, if this builds here, this could look nice. And based on the way I see the chart, I'm like, there's an opportunity for shorts to get scared out here, especially if it starts moving. And I get an okay price, nothing crazy. There's a huge seller there. I cut. And I'm just watching the action. I'm watching to see what traders are doing. And they're kind of re-challenging that entry, that big seller. I don't get in. It doesn't like make me get in, but I'm like, this might go. So watching to see, and then wow, that's a big buyer there that just kind of stepped up to the plate. Very cautiously holding here because it could flip super quickly. But just like, okay, let's see what it does. Let's see. Whoa, got break even right there. I'm looking for above 60, that's for sure. And it's kind of holding above my entry, so I'm cautiously holding. And now I'm like, yeah, this thing, it's early enough in the day. Really could take a shot at highs here. I think I do get it up to highs. Boom. And then I take it out. And that was trade of the day, puts me up around 6. That one trade was about $300, a little over $300. Which is good because the next trade that I'm going to go to is within the next 15 minutes, and it's a sequence of trades on KXIN where I lose $500, and so it takes me down to flat. So what I'm looking at here is I'm looking for a curl, and it does not happen in the size. It doesn't honestly look like 1,600 shares is that much to me, even with this price. I kind of, to be honest, underestimated the volatility of this and what a normal stop out would cost me. And whereas in MVST, I kind of had these tight stops with the potential of a long extension. On KXIN, it was a little different. I had very kind of wide ranging stops with kind of the about equal 50-50, 1-to-1 risk reward. Maybe a little bit like 1.5 to 1, but I don't really think about that as much as I think about probability and then just the risk and being able to get out with the liquidity there. And so I'm looking here for, it's low volume. I'm looking for this to get flipped, for it to get back above 6. And I'm looking to get in pretty early here. So I pop in right there. I get filled relatively high. It holds for a second. It kind of signals that it wants to go. It's kind of humoring me a little bit. And I'm like, well, it's not moving. And there's a seller that just stepped in front of the 90s. Just a pity. And so it's not the strongest situation, but I was up a decent amount. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to give it some space, let it breathe, see what it does. Notably, the little pre-trade action, I probably could have done better instead of like trading directly into a very common 1 minute average, this 20 SMA. I probably could have done without trading into that. I was looking for this first 1 minute high on the 5 minute, even though it did reject up there. I was looking for the reversal, and I was stubbornly wrong. And it wasn't the fault of anything. The trade was good. I could have cut it right here. Right there would have been good. And then right there would have been good, because it's now whenever the ask gets down below my position after it had gone in my favor a little bit, this is when I really start to get worried. Not alone, I don't even know if I noticed this, but there were sellers here just above at 85. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? And now my stubbornness is pushing me to not cut. I could have cut right there, that little uptick. Could have cut right there. Could have cut. Should have cut right there. But yeah, this is a travesty. But like the ask really didn't follow it down that much, so I didn't get scared out. It was just like a very calm retracement, and it was still green. And then I'm like, this probably could be bad. I'm waiting for it to pop back higher. The waiting probably wasn't good. Should have cut right there. And then I end up cutting right here on the second test lower, I think. Yep, but it was way low. And so that cuts that's like an instant down 350, which is okay, honestly. It is what it is. Not the best thing. But what I could have done better was this next trade. I was frustrated. I thought it was a good price. And I'm like, it's going to flip higher now, which it honestly may have. But I ended up taking another stab. It was within the same candle, I think. I could be wrong. That's me checking my P&L right there. Just getting a view of the land. But from what I'm looking at here, it's kind of done a stair-step thing down and made an extension, and it's going to need a little bit of more time, I think. Like, looking back on it, it's had too much preparation and too much going in its own, honestly going down. It's just, it's tried some fake outs, it's tried some stuff, and, I kind of do a newbie move where I take it right at the 50 cent level. And then I cut it, it's nothing. And then it pops higher, and then I buy back. And it's just this kind of, it's very newbie-like trading and very unstrategic. It's taking the highs, taking the upticks, not taking the downticks. Sort of scared to take the downticks, which is honestly fair. But then you put yourself in a position where you're almost definitely going to lose. And then there I just give back another $100 or so. Puts me flat on the day, like down to $88 pre-expenses. Post-expenses, I was probably down maybe 60. And then from there, I was like, well, that was stupid. and I'm pretty sure I don't trade it anymore. Yeah, I kind of excise myself from that. I focus on BTCS. I focus on MVST as it pops above $1. Honestly, I missed all of this move. It was kind of stupid that I did, but I did. And let's actually go and look at that, see if there's anything I can glean why I missed this move. I'm pretty sure I was trading it. Oh, I didn't trade it at all. Okay. So it goes from here. What am I thinking? See, I'm looking at buying it. Sometimes when these just open up, I just feel like there's no safe entry, and there's no like you're kind of just putting yourself on the chopping block here when you jump in at such a high level. But let's watch it, see if there's anything I can learn. I mean, it's coming, it's retesting. It kind of tested, failed, kind of churned here. And then let's see here what this looked like. It's kind of like getting bought up here. It's a higher low. Those candles don't look fantastic. They look like some people are unloading in the 80s. And I could have bought an anticipation for the 80s. That would have been, warranted looking back with hindsight. It's looking like it's getting kind of shoved down, but right there, that might have been a good buy. That would have been sketchy. But then it's back to 90, like immediately. So sketchy for both sides of this trade. And then it starts pushing up to the 80s here. And this is where it starts to get interesting because it's like, okay, you were supposed to die right there. Now you're at the highs. What am I supposed to do with you? I honestly maybe had too much size on for this sort of action. It's a little bit easier when there's like you're kind of getting pushed. There's a big buyer. I noticed that. I was like, oh, should I just jump in here? And it's like, is it gonna? It's not dying. It's not really even dipping. It's like, what do you do? Just jump in at the highs and pray? But then that happens, and you're like, wow, big seller. Yeah, so there's a lot of confusion going on here. Traders are getting in and out of each other's way. And then the 1 minute just is consistently moving up. And so now you're looking at $1, I guess. I'm not sure if I jump in at all on this. If I do, is it effective? See, now I want it to drop below 80 right here, or below 90 into the 80s. It doesn't really do it, so I guess buy. No, maybe that wouldn't have been such a good move, but buy there. Okay, so it'll fake you out first, and then it'll dip, and then the candle will close, and it'll look like it's going to fail, and then, now it's back to the highs, and shit, then it's going to go, I think. A lot of sellers here. A lot of sellers. So yeah, I would have been getting in and out, and I might have gotten chopped around. I got chopped around in a similar place in later in the day. I don't know if I'm going to get around to review that, but now it's starting to break through. Now it's a new high. Now you're kind of pushing highs, and getting in right there might be a good idea. Ooh. Yeah, holding. It's probably going to flash lower here in a second. 95, 97, 98. Okay, so now it's like, what do I do here? Do I hold to 1? I don't know. Boom, little halt there. I would be unloading right there since you're tapping the halt level. Really did not do a good job of trading this. I'll let it unwind here for a second, which it does generously. I think. Halt level rises. Boom, there's the dip right there. Oh, and I missed it. I wasn't even ready for it. I was kind of just playing theoretical right there, theoretical trading, which doesn't help anybody. Could have been a loss, could have been a win. I mean, it would have been a win, but like, it's hard to look in retrospect. Or it's hard to know like in real time, as in retrospect right now we're looking at it. So it's just kind of churning here. So it's not dying. This candle doesn't really die, and I'm thinking, yeah, it's probably going back to one. I'm ready. A little bit late here, but then here we go. Fuck. No? I thought I took that. Huh. Wow. I really just let that entire sequence go, and I don't do much about it. Sometimes when it moves faster like this, I'm just not ready for it. The size is a little bit bigger, it is what it is sometimes. Um, um, and honestly, I didn't trust my. This is kind of like a personal critique. Is I can do much better at snapping back to trading normally after a decent loss. The flip side of that is these kind of like mental restrictions keep me safe. If I am making mistakes or I'm not seeing something or I am tilted. And so getting back into clear thinking and effective trading is always a challenge. So it just is what it is. I kind of took my foot off the gas there, and it cost me. Well, theoretically cost me. I could have botched it on the way up, but looking back on it, it was all pretty reasonable trading. And yeah, and then we got go to BTCS 1112. I was watching over here BTCT on the left hand side of the screen, and then this is BTCS. It was kind of correlated, and the correlation was dragging on BTCS. And I think I took a trade somewhere in here, probably at the lows here, as that was popping up, and that was the trade. I made a couple bucks. And then 1330, skipping way ahead now. This makes a concerted push higher from the lows without stopping, from below pivots. It kind of wasn't the right move to get in so aggressively, but that's what I did. So c'est la vie. I thought this was going to die. This stock thought it was going to die itself. And here we have a good example of some of the dangers of just setting alert and walking away. Sometimes you come back in, and I even had this thought was like, I'm getting in at the high of the cycle. So at this point in the day, I'm up around $600, and it was just like, So that rings, the bell rings. I get the notification. I'm outside taking a breather because I've been looking at the screen all day. Get back in, and I'm like, okay, how do I get in this? And it was honestly trading weird. Not going to lie. It was trading funny. Like, let's see if we can see any of this. So there's no spread, basically, and then it's like doing this kind of like halty up. Not halty, but like it's just like holding, then it goes. Holding, and then it goes. Holding, and then it goes. And it's not supernatural trading. And so I get in here, and then I'm just like, oof, should have cut it right there. I was slow. I was like 1 second behind cutting it on that uptick, and I cut it at the low tick, and I lose $300 about. $200. Nope, about three right there. Let's see. I'll tell you a second. So I'm up about 9 right there, and then it goes from 9 to boom, 9 to 6, 9 to 6 ish. Yeah, on that name. And it just is what it is. I did good cutting at the time I cut it, but it was an extension after an extension with no pullback. I could have waited for the dip to make that a more compelling buy. Yeah. That was an annoying one. I remember it put me back down to around 320 after fees. Oh. Anyways. I go and I end up making it back. Yeah. But I make most of it back. Not all of it. It's kind of a long road, a lot of small base hits, and that was my day. I kind of stepped away at 2:30, came back a little bit later, but finishing the day up just over 500 with $100 in fees. So the total P&L was 600. But after the $100 in fees, it's only 5. And then that's it. That's all we got today. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Good talking to you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being with me while I study. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace.